Previously on the Renewed Minds podcast KE.
My name is Steve. A total orphan, and my journey as a total orphan began in 2005. And I was so bitter when that happened.
As a child, how are you processing all these emotions? These are your relatives.
Yes, the
So
people
how
were
are you
supposed to take care of you.
Yes.
You numb.
Okay.
You numb your emotions.
Because now you can't tell anyone.
Who do you cry to? So, fast forward, I'm able to overcome that. Then, after 1.5 months, my uncle, the Mdusi one, says, no, come and stay with me. It's still within the same homestead, but now I'm staying in his house.
So at this point, you're in class?
I'm still there.
Class 6?
It's class 6, almost now. I'm almost joining 7.
Within a year?
Yes.
Okay.
So then I joined class 7. So I stayed with my uncle for the 1 year. And
things were better then?
Things were better, but my grandma still has an influence on my uncle again. And then, of course, I have to do all the chores, including my grandma's farm. And at least in my uncle's house, I was guaranteed lunch and supper, but he would come and still cook and take care of his kids, because also the wife was there, help the wife with house chores and stuff. And then I would still take care of now my uncles, sheep, goats and cows. So life went.
But all this you are still able to balance with
school.
Academic?
Yes, but of course now your performance is deteriorating, going down, because the concentration. But at least for him, there was enough time to study, because now you're sleeping in his kitchen and he's given you a koroboy that you can use that has
as
always
long
oil.
As you want.
And then things happened very fast again. The thing that happens is, at one point I was taking care of the goats, and there was one stubborn goat, very stubborn. I don't know, in hands of cattle, there will always be that one animal that will always be troublesome. So at one time, I thoroughly killed the goat because it had veered off and went into someone's shamba and consumed maragwe. And unfortunately, the goat's leg got broken.
Yeah.
And when it broke, my uncle was furious. How can you kill a goat and tell? So for him, he wouldn't understand. So we disagreed very badly. And because he wanted to kill me again, and I just told him point blank, man, you can't kill me. It's not going to happen. He said, now because they always say, you've grown horns. Exactly. And he's very furious, like, where do you get the guts to tell me that I can't kill you, and I'm the one who's taking care of you now? And he told me, can you leave my house? I said, fine. So remember, this particular time, my relationship with my grandmother
is already
ruined. Now my uncle here, I am ruining another relationship.
You're burning bridges.
I'm burning bridges. So I went back to the survival mode.
Yeah. You went back to your house to eat maperas?
Yes. Now I see.
For those who don't know maperas, they are guavas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, so be it. I can always look after myself anyway.
So at this point, your dad is not around?
My dad now has come back.
Okay.
Is getting sickly again now. getting worse.
Mm.
So when we disagreed with my uncle, he came to our house, told my dad, this is what your son has done, 1, 2, 3. Now, this is
I
it.
can't live with him.
So my dad sat me down and was like, my son, I'm already ailing, and this is what is happening. And I told my dad, you know what? I'm okay.
You're in class 7?
Now, I've just joined class 8.
Okay.
I'm okay. I don't want anyone or anything to do with anyone in this home state. I'm okay. Then my dad is like, okay, you know what your uncle has said? If you can't listen to him, there's no one, he's not going to take you to school. And there's no one apart from him who can take you to school. Remember, I'm in class 8.
Yes.
I'm just about to do my exams.
Yes.
And I tell my dad, it is okay. I don't know how to go to high school.
How old are you at this point?
I'm around now 12.
Yes.
Going to, I think, around 12, 13.
Because you see, people don't talk enough about having to cut your family off because they're toxic.
Yes.
And now you are a child having
Yes.
to make this hard decision because clearly your family is toxic at this point.
Yes.
So you're just filled with, what is the emotion at this point?
Anger. And a lot of anger. And you question God. Why and why all this?
Yeah.
Why am I finding myself in this?
Yeah.
And I think I started even asking God, why did you take my mom? Why did you take my mom? We were so close. I had no problems like this. There were no things like this.
Yeah.
Why me? The good thing, I don't know in this generation how suicide comes in, but the good thing I never thought mysteriously, I never thought about suicide. And eat all the guavas, but never thought of suicide at any given point. So I did my class 8. I did not pass so well, but I did the class 8 when it was 250 was the pass mark. And I had gotten 298, which was just close to 300.
Yes.
So there I am. I've passed exams. But before this KCPE thing, so we've disagreed. All that exams are just about to start. I'm not talking to anyone. Everyone, I've cut off everyone, including my siblings.
But you're living in your dad's house.
But I'm living in my dad's house, sleeping on the couch, eating whatever I could get in people's shambas, the guavas and the wild fruits.
You never used to cook in your house?
We never used to cook.
There's no food?
Because all the, or if your mom is not there, all the food is being cooked at grandma's house. And everyone is being called to grandma's house to go and eat. So even me, I would be called. But I was very categorical and told them, no, I'm not coming there. So I would just eat all those wild things. Then the KCPE comes in, and not even during that period of KCP, I would not even study. I was just, I must say that I miraculously passed this exam.
What are you doing?
And where are the books you stress,
Okay.
So one of my friends, at home, what happens is when you're doing exams, they bring people food during KCPE. So you don't go back to your place.
Yes.
So people would be assigned their siblings to bring them food. But remember me, I don't have anyone to bring me food. I'm there by God's grace.
Yeah.
So there's one friend of mine, Frederick Abala, another guy, wherever he is, God bless him. a guy is the go-to person, and he saw my struggles and was like, Steve. So they would be brought. He had a sister called Night, so they would be brought food, but they would share with me the food for those 3 days. So starting on Monday when we did the rehearsal, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the exam is done. I survived with those guys, and they gave me their meals. And exam is done. We're back.
So no one is in your family even cares that you didn't receive?
No one. I did not even receive a success. But guys would receive success cards from Nairobi, Kisumu. There were no prayer days during those times.
Oh, those times, okay.
There were no prayer day. So I was just there. So I did the exam. We finished. I went back home, lived my life, and life went on. Then
high school.
No, we've not even got into high school, man. We are at a point. One time, there's a market called Gamba. So one time, I just went to Gamba. I was on my way to Gamba. Then I meet a guy who recognizes me, but me, I don't know him. And he's like, Steve. Sasa, sorry. And he's like, your grandfather has been looking for you.
From your mom's side?
No, from my mom's side. And he's like, what do you mean my grandfather? When my grandfather lives around home here. That's when I discovered my grandfather, he has many wives.
Okay.
From my mom's side.
So his connections are from in-laws.
So now, I discovered my grandfather had a homestead just close to the market. It was a distant market, around 6 kilometers from home. And we would walk to, there. And it's like this guy takes me to home, to my grandfather's home, and I find 3 of my grandmothers the homestead. And I'm wondering now, what is this? And I'm welcomed so nicely, given food and all that. And I told them, my grandfather, I've done KCP, the results are not yet out, but this is what my uncle has said, that he's not going to take me to school. So even if the results are going to be out, I don't know where I'm going to start.
Yeah.
So my grandfather said, it's okay, I'll reach out to your aunties. So I went back home on that particular day. Now at least I knew where my grandfather was. I went home, stayed for a few weeks. Then, now that's around December. The results
came.
The results are out. So the results are out, but here I am. I've passed. But I don't know what next. So one of my aunties come, and she came and she was like, the eldest, Auntie Esther.
From your mom's side?
From my mom's side, yes. And she's like, I've been sent by your Auntie Pamela to come and check on you. And see.
The Auntie Pamela who used to help with your fees when you were in Kisumu.
Yes. And to check how you're doing and what we can do. Okay, I'm fine. I'll pass, but there's no one to take me to school. And saying, okay, fine. She gave me, was it 200 shillings? I think just to feel good.
But that time was a lot of
big
money.
Kwanza kwa mzee wa shani.
That was a lot of money.
Wewe hakuna code ngapi bada? So we
don't know that thing in English.
Yeah,
That's
snack that we used to eat while in primary. So she goes back, and after a few weeks, she comes back for me and takes me to to my aunt's place,
Auntie Pamela's place.
Auntie Pamela's place.
At this point, the people from your dad's place, they don't care where you are?
No.
Okay.
That day that I was leaving, everyone knew I was leaving. I did not talk to anyone. I just told my dad, Auntie Esther has come. I've met her and we've talked, and this is what's gonna happen. Me, I'm checking out. It's like, okay, fine. You go, but you come back because now you have to come. See, it's now January. January, you need to come and go to school, come pick the result slips and all these other things.
Yes.
So I come back. I went with my auntie. She took me to Kericho, where now Auntie Pamela was. She was working with Camry. And at Auntie Pamela's place, I met all of my uncles who were with us in Kisumu, staying in my mom's place. It was a great reunion. Because now these are the people you've known as your siblings. So now we're able to talk. We open up, everyone is talking. But you see, at this time, you're still secluded. Like, because of the things that you've gone through.
So now you're guarded.
You're guarded. You're very cautious on how you're relating with everyone else. Because you remember, my uncle had broken that trust. So we are there. Life goes on smoothly.
So you stayed in Kericho?
Yeah, we stayed in Kericho for some time. Then I was able to go pick the results. Let me tell you, when I went to pick the results, I was dope, man.
You had nice clothes.
You clean.
Everybody's looking at you.
I arrived, went straight to school, picked my results. First I met someone at the stage who told me, man, you passed. And I said, yes. Now I went confidently to school, picked my results, and went home just to get to say hi to dad. Just trying to check on him, how he was doing. And we talked, and I told him, now, Auntie Pamela has told me I can't pick the results. She's going to take me to school. And I left home.
At this point, because there were issues between the two families.
Yes.
At this point, are they resolved? Or?
They are not resolved. It's what I always call, wars that are fought silently. No one wants to open that Pandora box because it will bring a lot of bad memories and no one wants to talk about it.
Okay.
So I went. So no one is talking about that. So they are there. So I told my dad. My dad was like, okay, because now he doesn't have any, means to support my education. He said, okay, you go. Because your mom took care of his siblings, her siblings, and this is probably an opportunity for them to also take care of you. And I come back to Kericho. I'm enrolled at Kericho T Secondary School. And I start the journey of secondary school life.
Day school?
No, boarding.
Boarding?
Yeah. My aunt would do her best to ensure I had everything that was needed for school. Basic, of course, because he had all these other people to take care of. So did my KCSE and had to wait, by the way. 2007, I did my KCSE. I was to proceed to college, but because of, again, struggles and funds, my aunt was retrenched for some time. Then I joined in 2010. So a few years lost in between there.
So at this point, this gap here, what are you doing?
So at this point, we're back in Nairobi, and because now my aunt has been given a transfer. So I'm taking care of her kids, doing the house chores, taking care of the house, supporting her, because now she's working and she can't come and do all these things by herself in the evening. So I am there working, ensuring the kids was still very young, Priska and Consolata. So yeah, I took care of them, and of course at one point again, Steve being Steve, the kids at one point did not want to eat, because I would cook lunch, but they were never eating most of the lunch that was being cooked. They would rely on snacks because their dad would buy them a lot of snacks. So at one point, the dad came in and found that they had not taken because I had not cooked.
Okay.
But they had snacks in the fridge.
So you stopped cooking because they never ate
they were never eating that what I was cooking because there were a lot of snacks. So they would. So I felt I was, cooking for no reason.
Yeah.
So the dad got very mad and asked me and told me, if you can't cook for my kids, leave this house. And he said this with my aunt present. Thank God for aunties again. She rose to her defense. And to my defense, and she was like, no, you can't tell him that.
Yeah.
And they disagreed bitterly. And I walked out.
Of the house.
Of the house. Being that you've experienced a lot of trauma and drama.
Yeah, for sure.
So you don't want anything. You don't want to feel, because the feeling had been rejection.
Yes.
Something that a lot of us go through.
Yeah.
is the feeling of rejection. And this triggers the memory of why did my parents pass on and all that.
And every other guardian has always been chasing you away.
Yes.
So now this one is also telling you.
Then I said, I went out.
You have eaten maperas a lot before.
Yes.
You can do it again.
I can survive. But now remember, this is the city, but there are no guavas. You won't be surviving on guavas and stuff.
Yes.
So I stayed outside. So remember, this drama started at 8.
8 a.m.?
No, around when he came back from work was around 5 p.m. Yes. So the drama began at around 7. And I went out. I just left them there talking and all that. And I walked out of Nyayo High Rise Estate and walked so far away, going all the way to Timor. At this time, a lot is going through my head. A lot. I'm asking myself, why me? Why are all these things happening to me? Then I realized there was nowhere I was going. It is at night. So what do? You come back. It's risky. Being close to Kibera and all these other places. It's risky. I came back, but I did not go to the house. I met a few of my friends outside the block that we were staying in. Made stories. It got to 9. They went back to their house.
I have to go back and face.
I know. I'm alone outside. I said I didn't want to go back to the house. I had made up my mind.
Of your guardians ever talk to you about how you react to situations? Like,
no, because my auntie, her parent, my grandmother passed on. They didn't have an opportunity to, know how to relate.
Yes.
They had their own struggle. So the way she dealt with her pain, I would say, I assume, is that she felt that is the way you should also deal with your trouble, because for her, she was never talking about her issues.
Okay.
You're getting? So I also developed
The same.
over the years that,
You don't
even-
talk about your issues.
even today,
Okay.
for me to be able to talk about my issues,
Someone has to really pull it out of you.
talk really, really, really seriously. Really, really seriously. So I stayed outside.
Yeah.
Got to 10, everyone is getting to their houses. I took a walk again, went to block A5, where a few of my friends also were staying. They are just gentlemen. Stayed there until 11. Then they also wanted to sleep.
No one is asking you.
No one is asking me what the trouble
You've even
is.
eaten supper there.
Yes. I went back to the house. And
your aunt didn't come?
no, she was looking at me. She was looking for me all this time when I'm moving around the estate, and now she has given up. So I come back, stay outside the stairs of our house, and she happened to have seen me through the window. She came back. She told me, Steve, you need to get back to the house. Wachana na mambo mingi. I understand myself. I did not tell her anything.
Yeah.
I went back to the house and I stayed. But the relationship with my uncle, my aunt's husband, has already been again destroyed. So I'm just there again. The only person now at this particular time I can trust is my auntie. So we go through life with her. She's able to take me to college in 2010.
So technically in this period you don't have like a father figure?
No.
When you're at your aunt's place, you're not in contact with your dad?
Now, sorry, I had not mentioned this. So we're not in contact with dad because it's about phones.
You didn't have phones?
I didn't have phones.
Yeah.
So before, so in 20, remember, I had not told you about my dad passing on, have I? No. So 2005, I'm in high school, Form 1. So there, my dad, because he had been sick, passed on. And how the news comes in is I'm picked from school, I'm picked by one of my uncles from my mom's side, and was staying with my Auntie Pamela. And I'm taken, and they're not telling me anything, and it was so unusual for them to come for me from school. No. I mean, Form 1. Yeah. So they come in, and I'm being told, no, let's go home. And I go home, and it's weird how everyone is just acting around you. One of my small aunts, Aunt Betha, looks at me strangely. She's the second last born in my mom's family. The house help is looking at me strangely. So no one is talking until in the evening when my aunt comes and everyone is asleep, and he tells me, Steve, your dad passed on yesterday. I'm not even hit. I'm not feeling pain or anything. I'm just there blank.
Do you think it's because of the distance? Like you guys never got to ever bond?
That would be one. And two would be the experience probably I experienced with his family.
Okay.
You getting?
Yeah.
So I didn't have any.
But like you said, the way you responded is you became numb.
Yeah, I'm just blank. No emotions, no nothing, not even a tear. For my dad, I did not cry remember my mom was also young. I was young.
When you were 12?
I did not even have anything going through my mind. Like, oh, okay, it's first time, yeah. So I'm back. I'm taken back to school the next day because now the burial arrangements hadn't been made. So I'm taken back to school. I stayed in school for like a week until I think it was the Friday. Then they picked me on Friday evening. Then on Saturday is when we traveled. Spent a night at home, and it was being buried on Sunday.
On a Sunday.
Yes, so Sunday is buried the same day. Actually, I did not get to see him being lowered in the grave because my uncle, the husband to my auntie, was going back to work. He was working in Nakuru at that particular time.
So you had to leave the burial early?
Yes, so I had to leave the burial early.
They couldn't leave you for like a while with your family?
Who was going to pick me again?
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, and so I must say that I did not see him being lowered in the
How
grave.
did that make you feel?
When it was said we are going, I said, okay, fine.
So at this point, you still don't have any emotions around your father dying?
Yes. And then we left, and that was it. So I come, life continues. I stay, did my KCSE, and finished. Supposed to go to college, stayed 2 years without going to college. 2010, I joined college. And of course, struggles here and there.
What did you go to study in college?
I studied community development and social work.
How did you arrive at that? I'm just curious.
I wanted to do mass communication.
I remember you.
I wanted to do mass communication. I always felt that news anchor was a thing for me because I felt I was always very eloquent, and felt that especially in high school, I used to participate in the set books a lot and the debates within school. So I always felt mass communication was a thing for me. Media was a thing, but again, when the time came after doing my KCSE, my aunts and the people around me crushed the dream.
How did they say?
They crushed the dream because they asked me, how many radio stations and TV stations are there? By then, people did not know about podcasts. There was nothing like freelance media at all.
Yeah.
We had mainstream media. We had KTN, Citizen, KBC, NTV, Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, and that was always it. And you're being asked, so media houses, how many are they? You are able to count. And so, mass communication. How many people do you know who have done mass communication?
At the time, not many?
Not many. And then, how many are being employed? You know, my aunt was always strategic.
Yeah.
Then the influence that was also there that came why I did community development was because of my uncle Dave, who is my mom's brother. He had done community development, but he had not still gotten work. You're getting? But at least there would be he would go for locum here and there because
the contract based.
the contract basis. I think the one that I remember was at Undugu Society of Kenya. It was dealing with street kids. So that's how I found myself in but my heart had always been in media.
Your dreams are still valid.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So started doing community development at ZTech College. Then now I hear it's ZTech University. It has changed. Time has really gone. And in that process, the semesters that I would miss, and
because of
school fees. You
So
know,
this
remember
part is still
now
honest.
my auntie is still the one who's trying to see how she can be able to pay my school fees, and at the same time her kids are in school, the two of them. So balancing between her kids and her sister's son would always be a task. And now is when I understand when you have to make hard decisions between your blood, your main blood, and you know, someone who is just related to you. So you'd find that, you know, her kids are young. At least me have gone some steps. So and they were in their early years of education, and you want to lay a good foundation for them. So most of the school fees would go to them. But I must say, she never forgot about me. She would do, with the little that she had, she would do a lot to ensure that at least I go to school. In between, of course, you should give you 100 shillings, and that meant that was transport. So that means that lunch was never there.
Okay.
So you're going to school, in between, sometimes you have to, she'll give you 50 shillings. That means you have to walk. But she was giving out of what she had. That's what I really appreciated. So sometimes you'd walk to school, to town, and come back. Sometimes you'd get the fare. And that was it.
So at this point, because I know there are a few people who ask me to share about the emotional support that your relatives can give you.
Yeah.
And now that there's these finances, what was she doing that made you not feel like bad that sometimes her kids have to be prioritized more than you? Like, was she having open conversations with you? Like,
yeah, I must say open conversations is the thing. As much as it's something I'm really, really struggling with, but being very open is what helped, because she would be able to explain, like, you know, these guys are young, they are starting right now, this is what I'm taking care of, 1, 2, 3. So if you can just wait a little bit, but we will get there. That would help me a lot. Then the fact that, again, you'd also go to school and realize that you're not the only person who's struggling with school fees. Because, you know, ZTech had this funny way of dealing with us. Students who were not paying school fees in good time, they had the student's card. And the student card had the date you paid a certain amount of school fees and the date that you expected to pay the next week. So if the card was not updated, you would not be allowed into the lecture halls. You getting? So that went in there. By God's grace, the struggles, I did my diploma. Finished in 2012, from 2010 to 2012. 2012, all this time I'm still living with this aunt of mine. Yes, but I'm just, you know, helping with the house chores, acting as the help.
So at this point, you're still managing with your uncle?
Yes, you know, the conversations are not there. So you
So what are you doing to cope so that now this time you're not chased outside? Like, how did you manage to balance your relationship with your uncle, knowing very well that it was strenuous?
avoid his presence.
He comes in as you leave them.
You when he gets in, you're out.
Okay. Give us a less. Okay, now if you were to, there's an orphan somewhere going through it right
Mhm.
now. What
Mhm.
would you advise them? Like they live with someone with, and they have that strenuous relationship with them. How would they survive?
One, I think for me is avoidance.
Mm,
Avoid any scenario or anything that may create friction between
the two of you.
the two of you. And number two, just blind yourself.
What do you mean blind? Make yourself invisible.
Not making yourself invisible, but close out. I mean, closing yourself or close out yourself from anything that negative that they say.
Oh,
That would mean don't pay
don't take
attention
to what
to
they say.
the negative thing
Things
they'll
they
say.
say.
Just allow it to get in and
And
get
out.
out. Because what I realized is when I was in my second year of college, I realized that I can't say I've healed, but I realized that I was harboring a lot of anger and bitterness. How did I realize this? Is one time we had a very serious, misunderstanding between the schools, the school of hospitality and the school of social sciences, and we would share a bus because now we were being transferred from, town, and some classes were in Westland's campus, and we disagreed because someone came in and asked me, we are the ones who always sit in this seat. Get out of our seat. And I said, what do you mean? Remember, I had all along I've been fighting for myself. I told him, no, I can't. Gentleman pulled me because he was huge. No, sorry to the slim people and small-bodied people. He pulled me up and dragged me out of my seat. And one of my friends, he's called Franklin. He was huge and well built. Grabbed this guy, pulled him also away from me, and told him, try to beat him and you're gonna face me. And Franklin, that's how the war began on the bus. The bus is going on, there's a fight in the bus.
You and Franklin versus the bully.
Versus now this people from my class and the bullies now. And I remember Franklin grabbing one guy and just holding him like he wants to throw him out of the moving bus through the window. And everyone is screaming. And there's a guy who's coming towards me. And within that period that I was in school, a lot of enmity that was created. The next day I came to school with a knife.
Still.
Yes. I came to school with a knife. And I told those guys, because they were targeting me the next day.
Okay. Okay. In case kids watch this,
yes.
but okay.
I know it's
okay.
I'm just trying to tell you how harboring emotions can really, affect you and make you probably do very negative things.
Yes.
I had a pen knife. I bought it actually on that particular day, and I put it and I went with it. So the next day, the war again began. Now, not in the bus, but I remember we were doing exams. So after they kept coming and checking up on me, I said, okay, I told Frank, these guys, they're coming after me. And I told them, it's okay. So after exams, the guy came for me. And one thing I told him, you're not better off than the parents that I've buried.
That's what you told him.
Yes, clear. You're not better off. I have nothing
To lose.
to lose. As a matter of fact, I'm born one. So even if I die today, no one's gonna cry. Probably just my auntie. Then that thing would be gone. And he tried holding my neck, and the way I swung, just pulled that thing out of my pocket, and I was just trying
Yeah,
to
no
turn.
people like
Guys are there, ladies are screaming, everyone is just, what is going on? And I told him, don't try me. Please don't. Because I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna kill you if you mess up with me. I have nothing completely to lose. Later on,
you
I
were
went
to the
back.
office.
No, did not even get to the office. It's the funny thing is, these things, there's a lot of screaming, but the thing with colleges is that you're adults. No one
So
finds.
how did you get to reconcile and know that this anger is what was the
It's when I went back home and I sat down and I was reflecting. Why these emotions? Why am I like
that
this?
angry?
Why am I this angry? Why do I say that there's no one for me? But clearly, that was how I realized later. That was how I was feeling. That was alone. I was doing life alone, despite the support I was getting from my auntie, because what I was getting from her was physical, but not emotional support. And something that people don't realize. People assume that orphans, all they need is physical.
Yeah, it's easier to give physical than emotional.
They are like, we've taken you to school. We are feeding you. We are giving you this and that. But they don't realize that sometimes with the emotions, you did not have enough time to grieve. You did not have enough time to heal. You probably never healed, because I sincerely, people never heal from the loss of their loved ones. That's the truth.
I think I'll invite you again so that we talk about the emotional support, because someone asked me on our feedback how orphans can be helped emotionally. So I think I'll invite you again so that we specifically now go into the details of that.
Yeah.
So for now, summarize for me how, now after your diploma.
So after my diploma, the healing started when I started working with orphans again and vulnerable children. I went into an organization called Drug Fighters and Counseling for the Young Generation, because it was a must you do your attachment and learnings in those areas. So I looked out for an organization because I didn't have connections. So just presented myself to that organization, and I told them, this is what I've done, this is what because I'm doing, I'd want to have an internship. And gladly the lady accepted me, Madam Agnes, and I was able to carry out my internship there. And I must say they were gracious enough to invite me later on again to go do the second internship with them and worked for them for some time.
So you said the working with the orphans
it's what has helped. It's what had helped
How?
me. Because now I could relate with the challenges in the centers.
So it helped you
process what I'd gone through, because I would look at these kids and see their challenges and relate to my story and how they were struggling. And being in a home is not like and also the fact that I was doing a lot of child rescue and going into the slum deep and rescuing some from rehab and the streets and bringing them to the shelter and doing the rehabilitation process. So that really helped me a lot. And the fact that I also went in and did the HIV pediatrics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You've really worked
as
a
a
lot with
counselor.
kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, as we are heading towards the end, because now you're a father. We will not
Yes.
go into the details.
Yeah,
He's a dad, he's a married man.
Yeah.
Niseme ile ya makanisa to one wife,
To one wife.
married to one wife.
Who is a woman?
What?
Nowadays you have to specify who is a woman.
And they have one amazing daughter. Yes. So, having gone through this, first, how were you ever scared to be a dad because of what you went through? Did you ever? Was there a point where you doubted if you'll be a good father to your child?
I've been scared all my life of having a kid.
Okay.
One, because the thing I related it with my story. I was like, what if I die today? How would that kid survive? Those are the thoughts.
Okay.
So the thing that I always said, I was even afraid of dating. I had a lot of friends, but just accepting that,
someone can love you as you are.
As I am. Thing is, why I'm saying this, it made me be very intentional.
Yes.
My story.
Yes.
It made me be very intentional that I would say I want an insurance for a kid who I did not have yet. I don't want my kid to be born. If I could be able to get a cover, life insurance cover, that was going to take care of my child, and I start paying for it before even I think of her being born, I felt that was securing the future for my kid. So I wanted to be very intentional, and it has also made me to be a very present dad. Because even when I was working in Eldoret, my daughter was born, and I was, always on phone doing videos and asking how is she doing, And when I came for the holidays, I always wanted just to be close.
How do you describe your relationship with your daughter? I know she's just 2.
She is amazing. She has given me the reason to live.
That's interesting.
Meaning that now I'm not very careless. Not saying that I was careless, but looking at what I told you that happened in college, I'm very intentional with my life now. Things like suicide, nothing. I'm now able to process my thoughts well because I know that there's a life that entirely depends on me.
You can either make or break them.
Not even make or break them. I feel that I'm the only support system she has. Yes, she may have her mom, she may have the relatives, she may have people like my auntie as her grandmother, but that has made me very, very intentional that, I have to think, I have looked into her future. How is it going to look like? Where is she going to go to school? What are the resources she might need in future?
Okay, so one last question. What about your child? What is your daughter teaching you in this season? Ama, what has she taught you so far?
Kids what my daughter has taught me is that I must say she is one who is what we call lelo.
Tell them, what is lelo in English?
I don't know how to describe lelo, but she's loud and very aggressive. and outgoing. Whatever she sets her mind to take, because right now she's just trying to
In the
grab
stage of,
things.
yeah.
And, if she wants to climb a seat, she'll do everything she can to ensure that she gets there. And she talks a lot. She's not like me. The amazing thing is when she's able to call her grandmother Bibi, and she says hi, and phone and TV is her thing. I don't know what is happening to this generation, but she can be glued on the TV just watching those things or something on the phone, and her quickness.
She's learning faster.
She's a fast learner. Yeah. So and the fact that that joy when you get home and she hears the door and she runs to the door very fast. That really makes me happy. Yeah.
So there's one thing I've never told you. Because guys, I mentioned in the beginning we are friends. We met through church, and we became very close. Now he's my brother from another mother. So when you shared that your Aunt Pamela, actually was very intentional about looking for you and taking care of you, it actually healed me, because when I shared my introductory story, our relatives, like I said, they didn't come out with their chests to claim us. And like you said, we often face a lot of rejection. So when you shared your story with me, that your aunt was very intentional about raising you, it actually made me know, okay, because for a very long time I never understood why our relatives never just tried. I felt like to some extent they didn't really try to be actively in our lives. They left the job to the relative, to Uncle Sam, who was just a friend, instead of them actually also trying to be very active. So when I heard about that, I knew it's possible. If they wanted to, they would have. But I'm not saying it's like to accuse, but I'm just saying first, please thank your aunt for me.
Sure, I will.
Yes, because first that healed me, and it makes me very intentional with my nephews now, because my siblings have kids, and I know that I also have to be very intentional. We are also working on the steps of still healing, even with our relationships. We are trying to mend relationships here and there. But I'm not saying to accuse them. I just wanted to make the point that made me know it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible because even me, I'm warming up to my dad's relatives, because they, I don't know, if once you become, God has blessed you and you become.
To unpack. I think that's why I'm very quiet in this interview, because you're like, as you're sharing your story, there are many things that I feel like we will have to unpack as per topic, dealing with the relatives, dealing with the emotional support part. Yes. So how is that going? You can just tell us briefly.
It's going on well, because God has blessed me with work and bread. So you able to, even with a little, they will reach out. Even the people who never supported you will reach out and say, I'm going through this struggle. Are you able to support me here and there? And you're like, okay. Remember that you have the right
to say no,
to retaliate, and say you were never there
for you.
You get it? You guys were never there. Why would you guys want to come in now? But would that make the world a better place?
Better place?
No. As I'd say, living intentionally.
Forgiveness.
You have to be very intentional about forgiveness and just say, okay, do I want to continue to create the pain and the hurt,
because it
and
causes
the enmity?
you more pain than them.
Yes.
Because most of them were maybe ignorant.
Because right now they'd be like, okay, so the people who we were advocating for, where are they? Are they supporting us? Maybe yes, maybe no. I can't tell.
Yeah.
But there's that I don't know, it's always a verse or just a saying, the stones that the builder rejected
becomes the cornerstone.
has become the cornerstone. You get it?
Yeah.
So when you becoming the cornerstone, people will come up.
They do.
But you don't want to live in that pain because it's will be creating you more pain and it will be creating more enmity. So you have to be very, very intentional with how with forgiveness, because it gives you a chance you to help, and also the other person to realize the mistake that they did with how they treated you.
Yeah.
So that would help build the relationship that had been broken.
Yes.
So that's how I'm dealing with this. I'm being very intentional. I still don't know how I'm going to reconcile the two families, but I must say that probably my wedding helped a little bit, because they had a brief moment of seeing each other, and they were able to, my siblings, unfortunately it's only my siblings who came, step siblings, but not my uncles and all that, but at least that conversation is there. So it's progressing, and me reaching out to my aunties and my my uncle, who is now the youngest on my dad's side, because he's the only person now alive. And
I feel like part of why I started this platform was so that we help each other as orphans to talk freely about the things we went through, and hopefully our relatives, especially those who mishandled us, and people too in our lives as orphans who mishandled us, will also find the courage to come and say, we had no idea that is how you felt.
yes,
We are sorry. Because I know for now, you, on your part, you're trying to reconcile.
yeah,
I feel like you are a child. At some point, I usually feel like, why not the elderly people? They were the guardians.
yeah,
If, of course, they did the wrong thing. And that's why I want us as this generation to start the conversation, so that even when they watch, they see mistakes were being made.
yeah,
I would be happy if even them, they come and say, we didn't know that is how you felt. They take the responsibility. The
not the blame, the responsibility and accountability part of it.
And not the blame. We are not blaming people here. We are just saying the truth of what we went through, so that whoever can be accountable, because of course nobody should live under such conditions.
Yes.
So if they watch this and see, okay, this was wrong, it hurts this child. Now he had to live with trauma, which he's still healing from, and he's a dad and trying not to pass it down to his child.
Yeah.
So I wish we could get to a point where now the elderly people will also just come and say, we were wrong.
Yeah, it's important. It's important for them. It's important for ourselves as orphans. And I challenge all the orphans out there that seek for a way. I'm not saying, numb your voice. Don't, please. If someone hurt you in the past and now you've grown up, to heal from those childhood traumas and emotions, find platforms like where we are at and talk about them, and do not be afraid of facing your fears, or your demons, as people call them, and just saying, hey, this is what happened, this is how I felt, but I'm way past that now. We are cool. Because that is what I'm trying to do with the people that hurt me. That, I may not tell it to them, but it's the actions that counts for me. It's the actions that count, and with my actions, I live for them to be the judge. I live for them to be the judge.
Well, we can talk the whole day, guys. There's a lot of wisdom. I'll say wisdom because you've lived the experience. Steve has really shared a lot of things that progressively we will discuss. We will pack them into topics and then discuss them further so that we help you deal with certain things. Like he says, he's in the healing journey and he has some points. So we will find topics and share one on one. You have shared a lot of things. Actually, I'm very excited about this interview because you'll have to come back again
Thank you.
so that we share more topics, because there are a lot of things you've touched on that we will have to share to help other orphans to cope, like the way you're talking about healing, the healing process. Yeah, so we will have topics like the one for emotional support that we can be given to orphans. We will do that as well. So I hope you will honor me again by coming back.
Sure.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, guys. I've really enjoyed this episode today. I hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, give me your feedback on the episode. Let me know what you would like us to talk more about on the comments below, and share with your friends this podcast so that they know that a platform like this exists, and we are a community who will help you feel seen, feel loved. Yes. Here we only share love and light. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.